Coming up on Titan Sports, it's a win and you're in for men's basketball. But to clinch a spot in the Big West tournament, they'd have to get a 6th straight win over Long Beach State.
The women's basketball team already has a spot in the tournament, with a shot at the 2 seed in sight.
And Titan baseball missed with Texas. Find out how they did against the Longhorns in this week's episode of Titan Sports.
Welcome back to another episode of Titan Sports. I'm Nylene Garcia.
And I'm Brianna Collins. The Big West tournament begins next week, and the Titans were on the brink of falling out of the bracket. They had home court advantage against rivals Long Beach State in their final game of the season. Cal State Fullerton hosting rivals Long Beach State on senior night. 2 minutes into the first half, Titans up by 6. Jackson Rowe hits a three-pointer to put Fullerton ahead 17-8. On the very next possession, Long Beach would respond. Michael Carter lobs it up to Joshua Morgan, who slams it down, and he would complete the and-on-one play. But the Titans still led 17-11. With 6 minutes remaining and Fullerton up by 7, Austin Owisica finds Rowe down low for the tough layup. Titans extend the lead 32-23. Second half action. Fullerton had 65-61 with 3 minutes to go. Romel Mansell finds Carter in the corner, fakes out the defender, and hits the three-pointer. Long Beach makes a 1-point game, but with a minute left on the clock, and the Titans up by 6, Owisica shakes the defense and hits a tough shot. Fullerton holds to win on senior night, 75-69.
You know, from a team standpoint, that's what I think our group is capable of, even though we had some adversity and some injuries and all of the different things. The group that was on the floor, the group that was on the bench, we stuck together and found a way to get a win.
With the win, the Titans secured the number 7 seed in the Big West tournament, where they will take on number 2 CSUN. The men's tournament will be taking place Thursday, Sunday at the Honda Center. You can check out all the tournament coverage on our Titan Sports YouTube channel.
The women's basketball team looked to clinch the number 2 seed in their final home game against Orange County rivals UC Irvine. Let's head out to Titan Gym for all the action. Cal State Fullerton facing their rivals UC Irvine on Women's Empowerment Night. 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Anteaters up 22-18. Taylor Turney throws a half-court pass to Amy Book, who finishes the layup to cut the lead to 2. But UCI would lead 32-29 at halftime. A minute into the third quarter, UCI up by 1. Lauren Sakey hits the long-range three-pointer to extend the Anteaters' lead 35-31. Midway through the fourth quarter, Titans down 56-49. Raina Perez rains the three-pointer as Fullerton cuts Irvine's lead to 4, but with 2 minutes remaining and UCI up by 12, Sakey drives the inside and finds Sophia Locandro, who lays in. Anteaters go on to win 68-52.
With the Big West tournament coming up, we send it over to Corey Johnson and Elizabeth Williams for everything Titan basketball.
Thanks, guys. I'm Corey Johnson here with Elizabeth Williams.
March is officially here, and that means it's tournament time.
That's right. The Big West tournament is finally set to tip off as both the men and women's basketball teams are set to get it on. Let's see what's going on with the women. Liz, what happened in that game against UCI?
It was a tough loss. This loss caused them from potentially getting 2nd seed in the tournament to dropping down to now 7th. It was Women's Empowerment Night, so it was a big night. Started the first quarter off coming in hot, shooting well, but then they just lost the momentum, the possession. They weren't shooting well at all.
So, yeah, it was a definitely tough loss to UCI. But meanwhile, the Titans are going to finish, like you said, in 7th, and they got a first-round matchup against CSUN. What do you see happening in this matchup, and do you think they have what it takes to go all the way?
Honestly, I think they need to step it up on the offensive side, because defensively they're holding it. They have a strong defense. The last time they played against CSUN, they lost by 7 points. They played them twice. So the first game was fairly close on the road. They lost in overtime, 63-57. But they need to step up that offense. They have one of the best shooting records in the Big West. Moving on to the men's basketball. Corey, how did they play against Long Beach State?
I felt like this was a really good test, and they pretty much hit on everything that I wanted to for them to do. It was senior night, and all the seniors did a phenomenal job, especially Austin Owisica, Jackson Rowe, and Brandon Kamga. Austin Wishica went out player of the game for me. He went and got 13 points, 10 assists. Brandon Kamga went and had 19 points, Jackson Rowe with 15, and he started off the game hot, getting that 4-point play to start off the game. I just thought that they did everything, like I said, they hit on. They won the turnover battle. They had 13. Long Beach had 13 turnovers. They had 12, and they had 21 assists. 21 assists to 12 turnovers.
Okay.
So they were doing their thing. They also held Long Beach, who was a really good three-point shooting team, under 30% shooting, and they shot 40% from beyond the arc. That is some big-time stuff, and after the game, Coach Taylor said that this was by far one of the best games they had all season.
So with the victory against Long Beach State, the Titans finished in the conference with a record of 6-10, and they clinched the 7th seed. The men's team will also face CSUN in the first round. What do the Titans have to do to get that victory?
I think that obviously the two players that they have to hone in on are the big man for CSUN, Lamine, and the guard for CSUN as well, Terrell Gomez. Those guys are going to be phenomenal, and they've been phenomenal all season long. Lamine is by far going to win Conference Player of the Year, in my opinion. He's also leading the conference with over 24 points a game. And then also you got the little guard Gomez, who had 27 in the last time that these teams met up. But I just think that the biggest thing is if either of those guys goes off, they have to focus in on defense. If they can hold CSUN under 40% shooting from beyond the arc, I think this is going to be a big-time win for the Titans, because that's what happened in their first game. They split the season matchup. They won the first game 82-75, lost the second game 99-92. But in both those games, you see they have high point totals. So offensively, they're fine. If the big three, Austin Wishica, Jackson Rowe, and Brandon Kamga, are scoring and doing their thing, I think they absolutely are going to have a really good shot at winning this. But they need somebody else to step up. Johnny Wang stepped up in the game against Long Beach. And the last time they met, they also had some guys step up off the bench. So they're just going to need another guy, another scorer. Maybe Devon Clare also gets in there. They need somebody else to come in and help them out if they want to go ahead and win this game.
With that being said, how long do you think they'll last in the Big West tournament? Do you think they'll win?
I think that, just like I said at the beginning of the year, I don't think that they have enough. I mean, anything can happen. And, I mean, March is a time where anything can happen, like I said. But at the same time, you look at the road that they have to go through. They have to get through first this tough matchup against the Matadors. Then they're eventually going to have to play UCI. But that's 3 games. 3 games in 3 days. You're talking about you got to have the stamina, and you also have the mental fortitude to be able to outlast your opponent. So if they're able to have the defense, if the offense is able to be there, I don't see why they can't. But at the same time, I think UCI or CSUN are the favorites to definitely move on.
That wraps it up here. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, guys. The struggles continued for Titan baseball this weekend as they were swept by Texas. Zach Liu would lead the Titans office with 3 RBIs and 3 hits. On the mound, Tanner Bybee would have another great start, taking a no-hitter into the 6th inning, but would take the loss, allowing 4 hits and 4 runs. The Titans now sit at a record of 4-12 overall, last place in the Big West.
Titans softball went 2-2 this past weekend with their 2 wins coming against ranked opponents. The Titans would defeat number 18 Minnesota and number 22 Central Florida. The Titans now have 4 wins against ranked opponents this season. Sophie Frost would dominate in the circle all weekend, throwing 18 2/3 innings and not allowing a run. In the box, Zoe Richard would rack up 3 RBIs and 6 hits. The Titans now sit at a 14-9 record with only 1 tournament remaining until conference play begins.
Now to hear about all the upcoming Titan athletic games, we send it over to Jessica Lopez with this week's edition of Titan Timeline.
What's up, everybody? Here are the upcoming games for the next week. Starting with baseball, they have games Friday through Saturday against Xavier. On to softball, they kick off the Easton Invitational starting on Thursday against Boston University, continuing on to Friday versus Sacramento State, and ending Sunday against Cal Baptist. Passing it on to tennis, March 9th, they play Memphis. Passing it on to men's golf, they have games March 13th through 14th for the GCU Invitational. On to indoor track and field. They will be traveling to Albuquerque, New Mexico for the NCAA Championships Friday through Saturday. Outdoor track and field have the Ben Brown Invitational at the Titan Track and Field Complex March 13th through 14th. That's all I have for Titan Timeline. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, folks, that's all we have time for today. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode.
You can watch our past episodes and game highlight packages on our YouTube channel. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at CSUF Titan Sports and like us on Facebook to stay connected with us.
On behalf of all of us here at Titan Sports, I'm Nylene Garcia.
And I'm Brianna Collins. Remember to keep those tusks up, Titans, and we'll see you next week.